Yeah, next time I'll bump it down to 20 seconds.
40 seconds is good. I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points?
I would hope Quinn Ewers
Not
put
my
up a
first
decent
time.
stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get this sword.
Greetings to all. Hope you all had a great weekend. Happy Monday. Hope you all had a nice Sunday. Not a big deal. I swept the board. That's a joke. I went 1-0. I placed one bet and it hit. So I mean, I did sweep. But I told that joke on the midnight.
What you play?
Yesterday it was Pelicans +9, and it hit. And it closed at 11.5 because Zion was ruled out. There was injuries. But yeah, I told that same joke on the midnight show last night. It wasn't funny then. I thought I'd run it back here. But I did sweep yesterday. I'm in high spirits right now. So my bet yesterday hit. I have 5 bets open today, and I like them all. Famous last words, right? I like my bets today. This story doesn't. It's usually when I'm like, I don't like any of these. That's when I'll go 4-0. I like tonight's bets. Who knows what's going to happen? We got a lot of NBA on the board. Some of the games are tough to. In fact, it's the first few, the early games that are a little tough. I like the later games better, but we'll get it started. We got Lindy and Chris here. Charlotte's on the road in Miami, and this is one of the games that I really had no interest in, to be honest. So if one of you guys want to go first, let me see if there's any updates. Yeah, you still got Duncan Robinson, Hunter Highsmith, Alec Burks all listed as questionable. I skipped over this game last night, glanced at it again this morning. I don't have any interest either way. I guess Charlotte or pass, but this is probably the biggest pass on the board for me.
I like Bam Adebayo assists. This was my big play last Friday was Yusuf Nurkic, Charlotte side of things. Obviously, they're not going to bring a ton of pace to the table here, but should be more competitive than you would hope with LaMelo Ball at least in there, Mark Williams at least in there. So I think this game, even though it's 9, I would be looking at the Charlotte side if I had to go any direction there. But this just comes down to Bam Adebayo having north of a 21% assist rate with no Jimmy Butler on the floor. It was plus 135 when I got it. Haven't looked at any of the line movement of anything pretty much all day long, but that just felt like a low-hanging piece of fruit there, considering you get Wiggins back in there. You get Davion Mitchell, who's a little bit of an assist whore in his time here in Miami. But overall, it's just kind of a low number to be getting on Bam for somebody who's been routinely 4.5 pretty much all season long, sitting 3.5. Yeah, it's at minus 125. I got this at plus 135 yesterday. It was just an absurd type number to be getting. It's moved 50+ cents now my direction, which, again, sometimes – with props specifically, it's a market where maybe I can get some traction that direction. So CLV isn't everything if we're just being completely honest, but still feel really good to be having that ticket. And I still have it better than a 50-50 shot of being Bam Adebayo over 3.5 assists. So take that for what you will. More of like a pick'em edition, depending on where you're playing now, because minus 125 is a pretty hefty number to be laying there, but I still find it somewhat interesting there over on DraftKings.
Chris?
I like probably you could put the under up for me. I see a 217 floating around at Fanatics and DraftKings. I didn't bet it, but that's the way that I'm looking in this game. Couple different things kind of make me think about it. And to your point, Kyle, like initially I'm looking at the slate today. I'm like, oh yeah, this is the game I'm gonna skip over too. But I went back in and I was looking at it, right? You got a Charlotte team that's 5th in offensive rebounding rate, which has led to them scoring a lot of second chance points. They're averaging 22 second chance points on the season. Miami's top 5 on the full season and number 1 last 5 games in second chance opportunities. So if Charlotte doesn't get those second chance opportunities, I think that they're going to struggle to score in this game, even with LaMelo being there. Without those second chance points, I think Charlotte's going to shoot a bunch of threes, which we know that them to do. 11th in frequency, 28th in accuracy. They don't shoot it well in the full season. 24th last 5 games, so they're still not shooting it well, just 32%. You got a Miami team that is top 10 defending the three-point line. Miami's also 3rd best defensive rated team last 5 games. Both teams bottom 10 in pace on the full season and over the last 10 games, over the last 5 games as well. Both matchups went under this season. And honestly, the more I think about it, I don't really want to trust Miami's offense. right? Miami's offense let them down in Chicago the other day. Their team total is 114, I think. And I think if Charlotte comes to bring it and the pace is slow, we could see it stay under that. You got to go back 6 games for the Miami Heat to find where they scored 115 points. It was actually against the Pacers. We know Pacers pace everybody up. So I think under is the right play. I disagree with the market pushing this one up. I know it's at 215.5. Now it's up to 217. I would play under. I think both of these teams struggle to score the basketball in this spot.
All right, let's move on to the next one. And I do have a bet on the next one, although I will say it's one of my least favorite bets that I have. I took the Nets plus 6.5. It's actually down to 5.5 now. And the reason is as simple as it seems like the Lakers might be punting on this game on the road at Brooklyn. After this, they go to Milwaukee on TNT, then Denver on NBA TV, then the Suns on ABC. They have 3 huge games after this.
In 4 days.
In a 4-day stretch, and they have a couple days rest after this. So it seems like they're punting and getting ready for that. As Prop People was talking to me earlier, Lakers are in pretty good position right now in terms of the standings. So, I mean, not that they're not going to try, not that, the Lakers still can't win this game. Of course they can, and they probably will. But laying 6.5 points on the road without your best fastball out there, there's no Finney Smith. Obviously, Hachimura's still hurt. There's no Jackson Hayes, who's been huge for them and pretty much the only legitimate big they have on the roster. So they're going to be really small out there for this one. Obviously, no LeBron. Luka Doncic is listed as question. Well, we don't even know if Luka's going to play. So if Luka Doncic doesn't play and you really take a look at that Lakers rotation, laying 6.5 points on the road in one of the most meaningless games on the schedule sounds kind of crazy. No Cam Thomas for the Nets, which obviously definitely hurts them on the offensive end. But as we've seen, Cam Thomas gives the Nets a boost on the offensive end. It seems like the Nets defense falls off a little bit when he's out there. Don't mean that as a shot to Cam Thomas, just reading the numbers. So remember, this Nets team, when Cam Thomas was out, they were playing some defense. So yeah, I just think this number is way too high, especially for it doesn't seem like the Lakers are coming out throwing their best fastball here. If Luka's ruled out, I love this bet, but I placed it at 6.5. Knowing that there's a chance Luka's going to play, then in which case I won't like it as much. But yeah, that's what I'm on. One of my smallest bets of the night.
Yeah, there's 2 bets that I'm interested in, both of them being point prop centric. I like Luka Doncic if he ends up playing over 30.5 points. I've got him closer to 33 and change here. He's at a 48% usage rate in just over 108 minutes with LeBron James off the floor in a Lakers uniform. Now that's an asinine number. I don't expect 48% usage, but if you make that mid-30s usage, which is totally viable, if you find any kind of a path for him, even against a very slow-paced Brooklyn team, and as you brought up, I like the idea of Cam Thomas being out there to hopefully at least accentuate the offense, weaken the defense there on the Brooklyn side, help this game environment out a little bit. I don't completely mind it whatsoever. So again, just ends up voided if he ends up out there in that spot. Haven't bet it yet, but that one is one I'm definitely circling. Have it in a pick'em regard, but the other one's Jackson Hayes. I like under 10.5. If you have Luka out, you have LeBron and Luka out there creating, and now you take them off the floor potentially here, and it's just him and Austin Reeves. We've seen this routinely here. Jackson Hayes is at 10.5 points.
He's ruled out.
I think that's just way too. Say that again.
He's ruled
out.
I had his rebounds over for 1.5 units, so trust me, I feel your pain. He's out.
He's already out. Cool. Trey Jameson is going to be your starting center for the Los Angeles Lakers today. Have fun with that, Chris. Enjoy. Nicholas Claxton, I did have circle as well for over 11.5 rebounds plus assists, but not going to end up playing that one when it's all said and done. The Luka player pass for me.
Someone in the comments says, what sounds crazy is riding the Knicks over the Lakers the other night. Dude, it went to overtime. Like, Brunson got hurt, it went to overtime. How can you say the Knicks catching the points was the wrong side there? I'm not saying
the most unbelievable cover ever. Like,
right.
That Lakers cover was miraculous, actually.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, the Knicks should have covered, I should have won. But, like, if you had the Lakers and you're objective, your response was like, well, I'm pretty lucky to get that one.
Lucky.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Coming from a diehard Laker fan. Cal, I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit. I didn't bet it. I think a lot of what you said makes a lot of sense, but I think that the Lakers just continue to play hard. I don't trust this Brooklyn offense without Cam Thomas out there. You mentioned the defense gets a little bit better, so maybe it's a look towards the under. I didn't bet the game, but the Lakers are playing super slow. Brooklyn playing super slow. Brooklyn not covering any spreads. Brooklyn's defense should get better. So I'll probably be looking towards the under if I was playing anything. I think the Lakers, the players that are out there for the Lakers, like a Jameson and no Dorian Finney-Smith and no Jackson Hayes, I think those guys are more. I mean, they do got Austin Reeves, but I think we see a slower pace, like defensive style game. So I'll lean under. I also think that the Lakers can cover, but I'm not touching the game without Luka, so I'll just be quick there.
Christian Coloco potentially get some minutes too. I mean, I'm trying to just figure out what I want to do with the center minutes. Is it going to be Jared Vanderbilt at the 5 against like Day'Ron Sharp? How do your Lakers do it here?
Probably so.
Yeah, just looking at the game log, seems like the Nets are a better team to bet on when Cam Thomas isn't out there. If we're just going through their win-loss record against the market. No, that's a.
Because their defensive rating with him on the floor
I know. I'm just saying, maybe
without him, it's a 114.
Cam Thomas being out, like
I'm gonna just say it. Cam Thomas absolutely stinks. Horrendous basketball player.
He stinks. Okay.
Horrendous.
That's a little far. He's not. I mean, he's not. He's your textbook volume scorer in the National Basketball Association. He does nothing to create for anybody else. It's like he has to get double, triple teamed for him to actually dish the basketball off. It's unbelievable to watch some of the shots he takes, if we're being honest.
Yeah. And to Pop Beaver's point real quick, Kyle, like Cam Thomas, I don't think he sucks. I think whenever you're trying to integrate like back into the lineup after missing 10, 15, 20 games, it's going to take a while, right? So if the only thing that you do is score, and then it's difficult for you to score because you're not shooting a good percentage, then it is going to look like you suck at times.
He's got a 58.6% true shooting. He's not terrible on the season. I mean, he's a 96th percentile offensive player on dunks and threes. I think that's saying something. But yeah, he's second percentile defensively. I heard that's bad.
So this next one is Utah Boston, and obviously I skipped right over this last night, as I'm sure both of you. I mean, marketing questionable, Collins questionable, Tatum questionable, Horford questionable. I mean, what you're supposed to do is calculate all the possible outcomes and try to find a valuable bet incorporating these question marks. I didn't do that. If I knew I was going to get the big three, if I knew I was right, well, I mean, that's true. Like, technically, if you're trying to place bets with positive value, the injury report should help you, not hurt you, but it definitely makes it less fun. The big three of rebounding, if I'm getting those on the Utah side, I want the 17, but I'm good on this one.
I like Boston. I'll talk through some of what I'm looking at because it's getting to the stage of the season where things aren't necessarily concrete, but like Boston's 8 games back of Cleveland for home court advantage right now in the East. That's a pretty drastic margin, one that I don't think they can really overcome between now and the end of the season. Just Cleveland's playing very, very well. Again, Cleveland is 54-10. I don't think that gets enough love. How insane they've been, 29-4 at home. But now with Jalen Brunson's injury, they're 5.5 ahead of New York there at the 2. I think they're more likely to put the foot down now to save guys up a little bit later. And I have these guys skewing a little bit more in as a result. As you said, Tatum, Horford, those are your 2 Q tags we're sitting on. Porzingis, quite doubtful coming into this one here as well. But I do think that this is like one of those spots where if you're Boston, take advantage of this now so that, hey, if you have a chance to potentially run down Cleveland for the 1 seed and you think that it's valuable enough as opposed to rest, which I don't think they do for what it's worth, I think that's one thing. But like, this is really about them just securing out that 2 seed over New York and being able to play through the entire way until they face a Cleveland team that obviously they've shown they match up very, very well against. I got to think that they're going to put the foot down here for the next week or two and try to just finagle their way in, watch New York as they react to post-Brunson life, which I don't think will be very good life for them. I think this is one where you have Tatum more likely to play. Horford, I think, is like a true 50-50. Really tough for me to get a grasp on, but you just handicap it with Tatum in, and this thing just gets wonky immediately. So I've got this closer to 20 with Tatum in is like the majority side. 65% is kind of where I weighted him in for it, and they look really good. That isn't all that surprising. Utah, they have no interest in playing basketball right now. All they're doing is positioning themselves for the Cooper Flag lottery, which, you know, Utah specifically, the Mormons, they would love Cooper Flag in their lives, that's for sure. So get ready for Utah Tankapalooza. 76ers didn't do a very good job yesterday of it. We're going to have this conversation, I think, with a lot of teams in a lot of spots. But yeah, Boston putting their foot down right now for the next 2 weeks, I think is very, very live.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't bet this game. I'm not going to argue with anything you said.
Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, me either, Kyle. I'll just say this: if Jason Tatum gets ruled out, we know what time it is. Double P, baby. Peyton Pritchard props to the moon. And I still think Boston can score whatever it is that they want to. 125, 130. Like probably just team total over if I'm betting Boston. Utah's not getting a lot of stops. So that's all I got to add to that, Kyle. Nothing in this game at all.
Cool. Let's move on to the next one. Bro, I don't know. My bets are in the second half. I have no freaking idea. I mean, how do you bet Philadelphia? But how do you lay 11.5 with the goddamn Hawks? Trae Young listed as questionable. Kyrie LeVert questionable. On the Philly side, if you just look at the projected rotation, wow. I have no idea.
They're now limiting the minutes of guys like Quentin Grime and Yabusele as well to make matters even worse.
Yeah, I have no interest at all. Put a gun to my head, probably over. But no, just listen to these guys if they have anything. I have no idea.
I lean over 23.5 points for Tyrese Maxey if he ends up playing. I don't think he ends up playing. I think
he got ruled out too.
He already ruled out too. As you can tell, I found out I was going to be on the show 15 minutes before I jumped on it. So that might be why I'm lacking in the injury regard here at the moment. But I have zero interest in this basketball game.
Yeah, that's on me. I forgot to. Usually I send Lindy a message in the morning.
Yeah, I forgot. Okay. You hate me. I get it.
Chris, anyone in anything in this game?
Nah, I opened 228 last night, Kyle. I didn't bet it because Trae Young has been listed as probable most nights before, and then he get upgraded to end up going to play. And last night when he came out, he was listed as questionable, and I was like, I wonder if they're downgrading him. Like, why the downgrade? And then Tyrese Maxey got upgraded as well because he didn't play yesterday against Utah. Second leg of back-to-back, but then the total started to move up, and I was like, I'll play over at 230. When it was at 228.5, I was like, I'll play it at 230, and now it's up to whatever it is, and I'm not touching it that high. But I think Atlanta scores as many points as they want to, Kyle. I think you just take a look at Atlanta team total up and over. Philly has been not just a terrible team, but a terrible rebounding team, and Atlanta is going to live in the paint, score as many points as they want to. So it'd just be probably a look towards Atlanta team total up and over. But even that number, I think, is like 122, 123.
Yeah, I mean, I feel similarly. Philadelphia's defense has been pretty awful all year. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is Wizards Raptors. All right, I got the Toronto at 6.5. Obviously, no Pirtle. That kills because the Raptors have been so bad without him. But you know what? They just covered against Utah the other night without him. Won by, I think, 9 or 10, and they were laying 5.5, 6, something like that. I know I have personal experience with that because I had the Jazz. So forcing turnovers, not an issue without Pirtle. They could still do that because they won the turnover battle against Houston. It was like 21-6. I mean, a turnover battle against Utah. I'm sorry, not Houston. 21-6, I think it was. I was livid. Watched every minute of that game. So this is still a defense you could trust to force turnovers against an offense that can't protect the basketball without Washington, without Brogdon. I'm sorry. So Raptors should be able to force a bunch of turnovers. The Raptors defense is coming back around. They're 14th in the last 10 games, 10th in the last 5 games. And this is a Raptors team that's been extremely profitable to bet against bad offenses, against teams that can't score. 1 second, I have it right here. So pretty much to bet the Raptors against bad teams. Against bottom 10 offenses, they're 13-5 against the spread. Against bottom 10 defenses, they're 8-4 against the spread. Betting the Raptors against bad teams has just been a good decision this year, and they should absolutely dominate the offensive glass even without Pirtle on the floor. The Wizards are a terrible team all around. So I bet the Raptors here, got it at 6.5. Don't like it as much now as I liked it last night. There's some other bets I like better. When I first placed it, I loved it. And obviously the line moved in my favor, so I still like it. But I like a couple of the bets I've placed better than that. We'll get to them.
What do we think the starting lineup is for Toronto today?
According to this, quickly Lawson, Barrett, Barnes, Robinson, with the Shed man coming off the bench, Castleton, Roden, Battle, Boucher.
I don't want to say that my sheet loves Jamal Shed 25-1 double-double, but it kind of does, and that's why I'm trying to figure out why. I normally don't just throw this stuff out off the cuff, but again, I don't really have a choice here at the moment because it's just an insane number to be looking at. Obviously, how many times do you get Toronto as this big of favorites? I think Toronto's also going to just continue to limit the minutes at least. I mean, Barnes and Quickly are both in. Barrett's in on this one here as well. But we're seeing very limited minutes. 27 minutes for Scotty Barnes in a competitive spot against Washington in a 1-point loss last time out. No foul trouble. Didn't have a single personal foul in the game. I'm just seeing Toronto minutes kind of getting stripped down in the same way. Now, that was on a back-to-back, so you can take that with a grain of salt to some extent. But same thing, RJ Barrett, 28 minutes for him on that back-to-back. It was his first game. He was out the previous one of that back-to-back. And Emmanuel Quickly, another dude that 29 minutes, competitive spot against Utah, then sat out the second end of the back-to-back. I don't know why Jamal Shead is popping in my sheet, but over 8.5 points going to be my favorite play from it. And then, yeah, I'm potentially looking. His 4.5 assists is juiced -150. No thank you on that. But, I mean, we could really look at some ridiculous stuff with Jamal Shead and hope that this game blows out in some kind of way. You could single game parlay that together, I think, with the Toronto spread. And if Jamal Shead goes nuts, it's probably in blowout run.
Did we lose Chris?
It appears so.
All right.
No!
Yeah, it looks like we lost Chris.
As we go.
All right, let's go on to the next one.
No, wait.
No, I can't see him now, so I'll have to leave and come back. One second. I'll be right back.
I think everybody just left besides me, which is intriguing. So how we doing, everybody? Hope it's been a
What,
good,
everyone
good
bounced?
Monday. Yeah.
All right, hold on. I shouldn't have left.
Lundy's back.
Unfortunately.
Rat bastard. And then we got Kyle back.
That was good, Beaver.
That was good.
We don't have the screen updated. It's ski.
If you knew my wife, I love people who just call me a piece of shit.
He's a
Just
rat
tell me
bastard.
how terrible I am. Oh yeah.
And then while Chris is coming on to the thing, I could update this to be the right thing.
Yep.
Real quick.
All right, so
Am I really gonna bet Jamal Shead now? 25.
I don't know. 25-1 sounds kind of cool.
Oh wow.
Sounds fun for a guy. I mean,
Whoa.
my thing is that he can at least like. I mean, he's out there passing it up. I'm actually not saying that. Obviously, the assist is the much more difficult ask, but like, he's kind of been flirting around with it a little bit. I could get a little freaky.
That would be a freaky play at
That'd be rather
25-1.
freaky, yeah.
Freaky on a Monday. Whew.
Suns the hell up, by the way. Suns up. Got
Oh
plus
my
5
God.
last night. Thinking about taking the money line. Look, I know I have a rough history with the Suns, and there's probably, I want to look, there's probably a lot of comments saying, hell no. I've taken a lot of losses with the Suns. Last year, the Suns were by far my least profitable team to bet. I had a winning NBA season last year. The Suns, I lost like 11 units or something betting the Suns. So like, and it wasn't even close. If you look at like my profit, my P&L for every single team, like Suns was like -11. The next was like -2. So the Suns are my white whale. But how on earth could you bet this Memphis team right now? They might be a blind fade until Jaren Jackson Jr. is back. They are looking terrible. Just to give you an idea of how bad this Grizzlies team has been. So, as you guys know, the only bet I placed yesterday was Pelicans +9 against this very Memphis Grizzlies team. So they're on a back-to-back. But this defense has gotten so bad. So they covered a couple, this was on the 7th, so 3 days ago, they covered against the Mavs, and I had Memphis -8.5 in that game, so I won the bet. If you watch that game, Dallas, missing everybody, was the better team for 90% of it. Memphis finished out the game on this crazy run to cover. Morant hit a shot with a few seconds left to cover. So I was lucky as hell to cover with Memphis the other night against Dallas. That one game, if you take out that one game against a Mavericks team sitting everybody, the Memphis Grizzlies have not covered a spread in a month since February 11th. That was the last time the Grizzlies covered a spread other than that crazy Dallas game where they didn't deserve the cover. Betting on the Grizzlies has been just lighting your money on fire recently. They play no defense at all. Suns should have no problem scoring because this defense without Jaren Jackson Jr. is non-existent. Look, are the Grizzlies going to score points right back on the Suns? Sure. But they should not be laying points. I think the Suns win outright. I got +5. It's down to +4. There's Reem in the Discord trying to talk me into a money line. I might indulge. I may indulge in a Suns money line. There's 2 dogs, and we'll get to the other one in a few games. There's 2 dogs that I think I'm also going to put another half unit on the money line, and then this might be one of them. I think the Suns win. Suns up.
I'll join in with you real quick because I'm also on, I guess, backing the Suns in some way. I'm going with Bradley Beal over 4.5 assists here. You get this line.
He got ruled out. He got ruled out, probably.
Get the hell out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. He's out. Injury management.
Oh my god. I don't have a
Yeah,
play
you
today,
even look at injury reports? I've fucked it up.
Eat a
twice today,
schmizza,
don't
bro.
mind me.
I guess I don't even have a play today, I guess. Both my plays got ruled out. This is insane. Sorry, folks. God damn it, man.
All right, you can jump on Zach Edey double plus 270 with me.
He's downgraded to questionable.
Nah, I can't. Exactly. God damn it, man.
I know he's questionable. If he ends up sitting, awesome. But Brandon Clark, Ben is just going to nuke.
That is true.
Brandon Clark also may sit.
He's also listed as
I was
questionable.
going to say he did also get added as questionable because that was the first thing I thought. I was like,
Yo,
all right,
deadass.
let's jump to Brandon Clark.
Hold on.
What
if
are we
Zach
even
Edey
doing
and Brandon Clark
here?
sit, we might be looking at a rare occurrence where the Phoenix Suns can dominate the glass. I can't believe I'm even saying that. The Phoenix Suns may dominate the glass. That's not a thing.
But that's the problem with the Phoenix Suns. You don't even know which big to bet because one night Nick Richards is getting 25 minutes and next he's getting 8 minutes. Like this league, man.
Oh, I don't care which big gets the rebounds.
Obviously, you don't give a shit. We're talking about us.
Probably even when you get a second, probably even look into Kevin Durant over his 5.5 boards.
All right, I will. That because at least he's gonna play.
Yeah, we think anyway. Cal hates.
I want to bet Jay Huff alternate threes.
I don't even know if you can. I don't know if that line is even going to be available.
Threes on Jay Huffy Huff. Let's go. Huff the Magic Dragon.
Yeah, I'm never. I don't think we've ever bet on the Suns together, Cal. Like you typically on them, and I'm trying to make sure you're not delusional. But I took them too, man. I held my nose and I hit the button. So I'm on Phoenix, man. This is outside of everything that you said, Kyle. It's second leg of back-to-back, 3rd and 4th, 4th and 6th, and 7th and 11. You mentioned it being 1-8-1 against the spread. We're talking about the Memphis Grizzlies, and for real, it's just the Jared Jackson Jr. effect. I think when I looked into like the matchups, Phoenix offense has been on fire. We know they live in the mid-range, 5th in frequency, 1st in accuracy last 5 games. And this Memphis team, 29th in opponent mid-range frequency last 5 games. So they're giving up that shot zone a lot. I also just kind of feel like Memphis is still a tad bit overvalued. They failed to cover 4 of their last 5 games at home specifically. And I know the Suns have been bad. We just need them to get back in transition and just not give up 1,000 points in transition. And with no Santi Aldama, with no Luke Kennard, like without Jared Jackson Jr., and the triple revenge. I know you're not a revenge guy, Kyle, but triple revenge against the Memphis Grizzlies. Like we got to get this one. So I got +4.5 earlier. The other thing you mentioned, Kyle, I don't know if you looked into this on your spreadsheet or not. Phoenix has actually been, and I'm gonna knock on wood because I don't want it to run out tonight. They've been rebounding the basketball. Like they are top 5 rebounding team over the last 5 games, and they're not giving up boards, which is why I told Prop Beaver to go look at KD over his 5.5 boards. That's something there probably, but I didn't bet it because I'm gonna just play Phoenix plus the points. But yeah, just pray for me, pray for Cal, anybody else that got Phoenix, pray for us, and hopefully we can cash one.
I'm praying for the people that got action down tonight. I can't. Oh.
Yeah, the interesting thing with Phoenix is you bring Bol in. He's been starting, even sometimes the minutes end up limited. But like Nick Richards, Mason Plumlee have gone back to like a 50-50 timeshare, which like I didn't see happening with the Suns, but they've just basically gone back to basics with Beal back in there. Now Beal out tonight. We'll kind of see how these rotations look, see if they go small to Dunn for any kind of minutes. But I think Nick Richards has played a lot better watching a lot of Suns basketball the last 2 weeks, which I never thought I would say because I think he was like an auto fade for about a month.
Let's move on to the next one.
Nick Richards. Let's tell the people what they want.
Let's talk Chicago Bulls basketball. Line moved in my favor here. Got the Pacers at 4.5 last night. I like the bet. Obviously, we know the Bulls play a fast pace. Pacers are down to play that kind of game. There should be points scored both ways. By no means am I saying that the Pacers are going to consistently make stops the entire game. I will say, though, the Pacers need this one. Coming off back-to-back losses to the Hawks, I know they have the Bucks tomorrow, which is, I mean, not that the Bulls is not an important game. That's another Eastern Conference game, another division game. Not like this one isn't important, but you got a big game against the Bucks tomorrow, and I know that's concerning, but they need this one. The Pacers can't afford to look ahead to the Bucks tomorrow. They just lost back-to-back games. They need this win. And what I like here, obviously I'm hoping Halliburton plays, by the way. He's listed as questionable. But I'm down to bet the Pacers without him. I'm cool at my 4.5, even if he doesn't. But specifically what I like here is this is a Bulls offense that takes a lot of three-point shots, plays directly into the strength of the Pacers defense. The Pacers not known for their defense. They've actually been a pretty good perimeter defense all year. On the last 10 games, they're 11th in defensive efficiency against the three-point shot. The Bulls have been attacking the paint a little more as of late, but I'm kind of not buying the Bulls' recent success. I don't think this is a good basketball team, and I especially don't think they're a good basketball team when Lonzo Ball isn't on the floor. If you watch some of the videos I uploaded, I pulled up on and off splits, and the Bulls are a significantly better offensive, defensive, and rebounding team when Lonzo Ball plays. He's not playing tonight. So, look, I know the Bulls are, 7-2 against the spread in their last 9. I know a lot of people are liking the Bulls recently. I am not. So, with no Lonzo Ball, Pacers need a win. I got a short number like 4.5. If you haven't played it yet, I would say hold off on the 6 and wait to see. I don't want to be holding a Pacers -6 if Halliburton doesn't play. So if you haven't played it yet, I would say hold off. If Halliburton's ruled out and it drops back down to the 4.5 that I got, then maybe play on it. But I would say hold off on it right now if you haven't placed the bet. Wait till Halliburton news drops. Lindy?
Yeah, so I'm on pretty big. Nikola Vucevic under 31.5 PRA. He's at 28.5 some spots now, but there's also a 30.5 at BetMGM that's still lingering. It's pretty heavy juice, but I don't really care. They were limiting his minutes with the calf issue before they ended up sitting him. And now he gets back into the mix tonight. And you're looking at 28, 30 minutes, maybe tops. He had played 29, 25, 31, 33 minutes before they had an overtime thing against the Knicks, 34 minutes against Detroit in a game that blew out and they didn't really care about his minutes. Vooch's minutes are going to be down on the return here. They get Zach Collins, who's played well, but I don't even think that's necessarily it. I just think Jalen Smith, Zach Collins probably mix in because they don't need to play Vooch 30 minutes in games that they're not actively trying to win. So for me, I still think shorting the entire portfolio on Vucevic. I think you might be surprised to see him play 24, 26 minutes in a spot like this. It's kind of the way that I felt yesterday. I ended up shorting Rudy Gobert under 11.5 points. I thought that was an asinine line for a guy that basically they were saying, oh, he's going to play 28 minutes. He only played 20 minutes. So of course he put up 16 points, but you can't look in hindsight on stuff like that. You're trying to take advantage of some of these numbers that are just inflated for no reason. This would be a great line for him a month and a half ago. It's not a month and a half ago. I think under these circumstances, I'd be very surprised to see him play 30 minutes again this season.
Yeah, and another thing is the Pacers have not had any problems with the Bulls this year. They've played them 3 times. They've beat them 3 times. They've covered 3 times. The last time they played was without Mathurin as well. So having Mathurin out there gives him a lot of minutes. I think he's going to be coming off the bench as the 6th man, but Mathurin's back now. So even if Halliburton doesn't play, they still are gaining a piece that they didn't have the last time they played. So, yeah. Chris?
Yeah, and I want to take advantage on something in the assist department, too, with TJ McConnell, who I don't think plays. I don't know if anybody saw that ankle injury. I'm shocked he's even on the injury report as questionable right now. Like, how do you not just rule that guy? That or he has a titanium screw in his leg already, because I have no idea how you come back from that injury. It was like the first possession of the game for him, too. He turns that ankle pretty bad, so I'm shocked he's on the injury report. If you get him out as well, I looked at 2.5 assists for Pascal Siakam, but that's all, guys.
Chris?
I'm with you, Kyle. I don't know if you remember, but I think it might have been last week, a week before. You literally just said everything that you said in the same matchup because you won with Indiana, like when they played Chicago. Yeah. It was just like last week, and it was all the same stuff. It was right, like Chicago gonna get ran off the 3-point line. Indiana should be able to score. So I'm right there with you. I didn't bet it because when I saw the injury report, Halliburton and McConnell was questionable. That scares me a lot, like if neither one of them play. So we'll see. I think one of them play. We'll see how it goes, though, because I do kind of feel like the Pacers are going to keep something in the tank for tomorrow as well. So no bet on this game for me. I just skipped it.
Next. And this is a bet that everybody's going to hate.
You took Orlando?
Yep. Do you believe
like
in
Orlando.
magic?
I like Orlando too. I didn't bet them though. But
Believe
go ahead,
in
Kyle.
magic.
No one wants. This is like everyone who
I'm
keeps
on
the
it.
the D. Oh yeah.
Oh, sure
On
am.
an
You got the
Orlando
graphic
party.
already, I'm sure. I got 5.5. I'm locked and loaded with you. I hate our lives. It's fine.
I wish I because I wanted to take the 5.5 last night, and I decided to hold off. Okay, so if Fred VanVleet doesn't play, this is a great bet because I don't know. So first of all, we know that Houston offensively has really struggled without VanVleet. They've really struggled without him. They looked good in those Pelican games because they played back-to-back games against a terrible defensive rebounding team in the Pelicans. I talked about it. It was a beautiful matchup for the Rockets. They could dominate the offensive glass against the Pelicans. They did in back-to-back games. Now they play Orlando, who's obviously a significantly better rebounding team than the Pelicans. But in addition, Thompson is out, and he is the man for them. Not just one of the guys who's grabbing those offensive rebounds, which is such an important part of what Houston does, but also if you look at, and I'm sure this is what Lindy's going to talk about, if you look at the usage rate, the assist rate, if you're looking at who is picking up the slack without Fred VanVleet running the point, handling the ball, it's Thompson. So if Fred VanVleet doesn't play in this game and there's no Thompson, who's handling the ball? Jalen Green? The Rockets might turn the ball over 30 times in this game if both VanVleet and Thompson are out. Now, if VanVleet plays, obviously that throws a wrench into my plans a little bit, but he hasn't been playing, man. He hasn't played in a while. He came back for one game, didn't look all that well. So, I mean, how much does that move the needle if VanVleet comes back and plays for the first time in what, like a month and a half? He hasn't played. So, yeah, I know no one wants to bet Orlando right now. Keep in mind, they did just go into Milwaukee and beat the Bucks. The Bucks had Giannis and Lillard in that game. I think Orlando's the play. I think they win outright.
I think they're definitely the play. 5.5 where I got this, 4.5 now. I'm just fine with it as well. Here's how I handicapped it. I usually do individual player-by-player analysis, and one of the more underutilized things, on-off court tools, splits, available to everybody on planet Earth when it comes to assist rate, usage rate, but also offensive defensive rating. And the main guy that I see picking up major minutes for Houston is Aaron Holiday today. If you have Fred VanVleet out, I think even limited, Aaron Holiday is most likely your starter here. And this team is not good offensively with him at the point. The other reason is Reed Shepherd is going to be out for this one. And that's kind of like another wrench here where I think Reed Shepherd would have gotten some actual leash. He had started to break into this rotation over the course of the last 2-3 weeks, was starting to get a little bit of leash as Houston, they're getting their core pieces back. But this is just an easy click, I think, on Orlando plus 5.5. I know that they've been a better home team. I know a lot of people care about such things. For me, it's just simply modeling out Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner here at full strength. And we get Cole Anthony, more of a secure piece in this rotation. And I think he has every advantage over an Aaron Holiday, who's been around the block. He's who he is at this stage. But on off court, you were talking about replacing Amen Thompson, 108.6 defensive rating in 1,952 minutes, 113.3 offensive rating. You're going to be 5-6 points worse offensively with Aaron Holiday eating those minutes up. And it is not a joke. I mean, 5-6 points is enough for me to, I should have just full out hook slammed this at 5.5. This is closer to like pick'em territory. I've got it just ever so slightly. I'm not going to be that big of a stand on it. Still, if Houston's slightly favored, but this is one of my better tickets, I feel like, on the board for today.
Agreed. And this is another one. I was talking earlier about I want to take the Suns money line. This is the other dog where I want to put a few more. I think the Suns and Magic could both win. As of right now, I have the points. I haven't taken the money line, but I'm getting peer pressure in the Discord. I might do it. I had a feeling, Kyle, this is going to be the dog that you wanted to put on the money line. Because when I was going through it last night, I saw all the same things that you and Lindy were thinking. I was like, man, we still got we can get 5 points even with a man out as well. So, yeah, it's for everything that you guys mentioned. The only thing I'll mention here is player prop, which is Jalen Green. I like Jalen Green to go under if VanVleet does play. His favorite shot zone on the floor, above the break three. He shoots a ton of them. 43% of his shots come from the above the break three. Orlando is #1 defensively and running you off the above the break three. Orlando also allows the fewest assists to teams in the NBA this season. Fred VanVleet comes back, then of course his assist duties dwindle. His playmaking duties dwindle. He averages, I think, 1 full potential assist without less with Fred VanVleet on the floor. So if Fred VanVleet plays, I like it a lot. Versus teams that are top 10 and above the break three defense,
Jalen Green's averaging just 20.9 points and assists on the season. He stayed under his 26.5 last night. He's down to 25 now in 22 of his 30 games, good for 73%. So look towards Jalen Green under on his points plus assists as well.
Couple things in the comments I want to answer. Ray Taylor says Steven Adams is going to play the point tonight. I thought that was funny. So someone asked about the Sauce Network app. I'm going to put out a video that shows you how to use it, but you can download it right now if you want. But there might be a couple things that you're confused about. So I'm going to put out a video, probably as a YouTube short, that shows how the new app works. And Cyber, can you chill, dude? Cyber goes, I'm doing that parlay, Kyle, definitely. Talk about Magic and Suns. No, I'm saying you place both of them as individual bets, and you just
I think you should definitely parlay everything that Kyle says together, and then you should at Kyle Kirms on X and let him know what you think when you are down infinite.
Tweet it out, use my name, and say Kyle Kirms guarantees this.
Yes, he does. That's what I heard.
All right,
or your money back.
Yeah, Steve Renz is in the comments. All right, Kyle convinced me. Magic and Suns moneyline parlay. No, guys, next.
This is not the way.
That's Cybert too. Cybert's my guy. Cyber, you're better than that.
You're the chosen one.
Cybert's a sharp guy. Next up is Denver, Oklahoma City. And if you watch at the end of yesterday's live stream, these two teams obviously just played. I said I liked Oklahoma City. It's a great matchup for them. Oklahoma City's been great against these offensive teams, against these fast-paced teams that try to run in transition. They try to out Oklahoma City, against Oklahoma City. They try to out OKC. They generally lose. I mean, Oklahoma City's record against these teams is insane. They're 15-2 against the spread against top 10 offenses. Against fast-paced teams, 9-1-1 against the spread against the top fastest-paced teams in the NBA. So against teams that try to do what Oklahoma City does, they get smoked. So Oklahoma City would have to be the play. But the market might have over-adjusted a little bit. I mean, I'm seeing a 10? 10?
Well, Jokic
Kyle,
and
that was
Jamal
the
Murray
injury.
are
I
both
was
shot.
No, I know.
Aaron Gordon got ruled out too.
Oh, ruled out?
Yeah.
I thought they were questionable.
No, yeah, he's out. Yeah,
Aaron
I
Gordon
have.
out.
Hold on, I'm not seeing out.
OKC is
Hold on.
just.
I'm not seeing out.
You don't see
Aaron
Aaron Gordon out?
I
he's
know
out.
Aaron
He's out.
Gordon.
Oh, I thought you said Jokic. My bad.
No. Gordon. So it came out that he's questionable. Then it said that he was going to go through shoot around with intent to play for Jokic. That was like 5 minutes ago since we've been doing the show. Everything else was earlier. Jamal Murray is also questionable. So I think all of that inflated the line, Kyle.
Yeah. David James, Nuggets money line. No, thank you. I think I'm okay.
What about over?
Not do that. Nah, just play OKC. OKC's going to win by infinity. I mean, OKC on Friday rested everybody with the anticipation of this back-to-back. Chet Holmgren is playing on the back-to-back. You have Aaron Gordon ruled out, and anybody watching that game yesterday, Jokic dinged up his elbow, and it was a huge part of what happened yesterday. He went like completely broke. It was like the Thanos losing one of the Guardian Stones, like one of the Infinity Stones. Just freaking all of a sudden, Jokic was just mortal, and it was weird to watch. But this is definitely an OKC team. What an advantageous spot to be getting a home and home against Denver. Also advantageous being able to have everybody rested coming off of Friday into Saturday, into Sunday's morning game. And now to be pretty darn healthy coming into this one, SGA avoided any kind of an issue on that fall. Everything just pointed straight towards OKC. Still first in adjusted defensive rating. We're still accumulating sample size with Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren on the floor together. I do think this is one where Chet Holmgren probably gets some kind of limited minutes, but getting any Chet Holmgren minutes is better than none. And this is just such a great spot for Denver to kick up their heels, let Russell Westbrook go try to put up 30, 15, and 10, or, the second 30-20-20 game in NBA history here in OKC. Let him play to the crowd, his old team, but lose by 20 in the process, please. I do see Jokic as somebody who wouldn't shock me whatsoever to see him and or Murray sitting in this one.
Yeah, I agree. Chris?
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said as well, Lindy. The other things I'll mention, Lindy, you mentioned the spot being so good for OKC. We got to remember what Phoenix, what happened with Denver. Denver went to overtime with Phoenix because they couldn't close them out in the second half. Remember, so that's an added element as well. And now it's no Gordon. Cal, to your point, you mentioned yesterday on my show I talked about how OKC plays really, really well against really good teams. They're 12-3 straight up 11-4 against the spread when they're facing a team that has a 65% win percentage or better. And if you take out the Cleveland loss, they've won 9 in a row and covered all 9. They also play really well as they were single digit favorites at home. For whatever reason, we know that they don't care about, the double digit games all the time. But if you look at OKC laying single digit points at home, they're 13-3 against the spread, 12-3-1 against the number. If they're not laying double digits, including 8 straight wins, 11 of their 16 opponents have gone under the team total. Here's the last point. This game is way more than just OKC versus Denver. This is like everybody on OKC wants SGA to win MVP too. So they're gonna do everything that they possibly can to beat this team by as many points as they can, in my opinion.
Let's go to the next one. Unfortunately, I agree. I would love to take that big number with Denver, but I agree. Dallas, San Antonio. Dallas, San Antonio. Man, I don't know about you guys. Maybe Lindy could shine some light on something. I don't like when trying to predict rotations we've never really seen together, and
it's my favorite.
I know that's who likes that. DFS people can get down on that. I'm not.
We get. Oh, what's going on in my shorts? Yeah, it's close to that. Just...
what? All right, so Lindy, what's going on in your shorts here, Dallas, San Antonio?
Lots of interesting things. You need 8 healthy bodies. You need 8 healthy bodies to have fun at the orgy, and you need them to play basketball today. So one of the two is going to occur. I just look at this as a spot with Brandon Williams dinged up, left hamstring tightness. He had been playing awesome for them, by the way. But Dwight Powell avoided any kind of major injuries, so I think we see him in there. I think you get your typical starters with Dante Exum out there instead of Brandon Williams, Max Christie, Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, Kessler Edwards. I think you're going to get limited minutes for Dwight Powell, Caleb Martin, who's still working himself back, and then Spencer Dinwiddie, also known as Spencer Din Shitty, because he cannot play basketball anymore. So that is your 8 that you were looking at on the Dallas side. That being said, I can't really advocate for anything that isn't just like looking at the San Antonio side. And, I had enough spreads. I rarely have like 3 spreads on the card ever. And I had 3 already on today, and they've all been pretty good in terms of CLV. But now you get Stephon Castle ruled down to questionable here. I think it's thin to be looking at anything San Antonio, another team that post Wemby, they have De'Aaron Fox, Chris Paul. I'm shocked that he hasn't just like said, buy me out and then let me get picked up before the playoffs by anybody with, the whatever it's called, the tier 1 exemption thing that it's called. I definitely think that this is a spot for San Antonio if you had to do anything, but I don't really want to do it because it just seems like an appropriate number here based on everything that I'm looking at. And now Castle downgraded. You're replacing it with more minutes for Keldon Johnson ever so slightly. Jordan McLaughlin, I will remember you. Sarah McLaughlin season, pass. No, thank you.
I didn't even see the Sohan and Castle news. Yeah, I skipped over this one. Yeah. It's tough with the new rotation.
Sohan's already out. I think he's doubtful on the injury report, but yeah.
It's tough with new rotations are thrown together because you can do your best to estimate the minutes, but it's tough to how the game flows with the unexpected rotation or new rotation. Chris, anything here?
I leaned over last night. The total got bet all the way up. These are the 2 worst defensive teams in the NBA, and I do think it's going to be played with pace. So yeah, it was over for me or nothing. The total too high for me now, especially with the injury report. I guess with Steven Castle out, the defense should get worse, and without Jeremy Sohan, the defense should get worse. But I'm not sure if San Antonio. I guess San Antonio should still be able to score. Dallas is the worst defensive team in the NBA, though. So I'm always kind of looking towards overs with this new Dallas team. And think about this: who's the centers for these 2 games? There really isn't any, right? So I think this game is gonna be played like a YMCA pickup game, honestly, just up and down the floor. So I'll lean over, but I didn't bet anything here.
Next.
Sandro Mamukashvili night. Enjoy it.
Mamukashvili. Next is Portland. Is Portland next? Yeah, Portland, Golden State. I mean, I think the number's a little too big. Jeremy Grant's not going to play here for Portland. I'd really like to get what's his name? Avija. Advia. I always used to say Avija. Advia out there. He's listed as questionable. I don't really want to step in front of Golden State, but I think the only way to go would be Portland here. Golden State has played. Yeah, I mean,
I feel
Golden
the
State.
same way. It's a big number.
We do have
Like
to.
they're taxing you now to lay with Golden State.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I understand. They've been winning. They've been covering. Golden State looks great, but you have to acknowledge they played a bit of an easy schedule. They're 28th in strength of schedule in their last 10 games. Their toughest game, if you look over the last 10 games for Golden State, like, who are their tough games? The Knicks with no Towns. I mean, you got
Detroit.
Yeah,
That game coming back home the other day.
Yeah, Detroit.
They didn't cover that one either.
They did not cover that. Then you have the Knicks with no Towns. Other than that, you got the Nets, the Hornets, the Sixers, the Magic, the Hornets, the Mavericks missing everybody. So the Golden State has played a very easy schedule. So, yeah, I think Portland is probably the look here. I don't have the balls to actually do it, but that's a side I want to take. Lindy, anything here?
Yeah, Moses Moody. I'm just trying to find the updated number here that I was going to bet for it. Alt points, because he was bright green on the old sheet. That makes me happy. Bet 365. I don't know what's going on, but I need to have a conversation with them. Their API is just pissing me off on the daily. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what
you know what I'm talking about, Kyle.
It's not just Odd Shopper. Everywhere. You can't get it anywhere.
Oh, my God. They want to make it as impossible as, like, I guess just don't want to get sniped. I get it. But anyway, Moses Moody over 12.5 points. We'll go with the even money number. Yeah, it's plus 100 over at BetMGM right now. This is just another sheer minutes volume type situation. And then you get into these blowouts, these blowout type scripts. I mean, Moses Moody, his minutes have been way more secure than what I ever expected that they could be in the Steve Kerr regime, because Steve Kerr generally doesn't have any choice but to, like, be a psychopath and just run out the dumbest rotations possible. But now, no Andrew Wiggins, no Kyle Anderson, all of these toys that he used to run out there. I mean, also Trace Jackson Davis has fallen upon hard times. It's basically Quentin Post knocking down threes and Kevon Looney for rebound cleanup duty. You have Portland playing on a back-to-back here. Denny Avdia not a given to be playing. And I think that Moses Moody in the starting rotation, and then you get these spots against bad teams like Portland. I mean, we're just seeing massive minutes, and I know it hasn't come to fruition yet, but boy, is it coming. Like 12.5 points to be sitting here with. The last six bros, I guess, are not going to enjoy this because he hasn't gone over once in the last six. But different situation, different opportunity. Still no Jonathan Kuminga back there, which is very, very important. And Brandon Pajemski out. It's just shored up Moses Moody's minutes in a way where with his usage rates, he can get... I mean, there's going to be volume eventually for him when Steph Curry kind of chills out here on this 40 rampage he's been on. I think you want to be early to the party on these kind of numbers that are too low for guys. Yeah, it's not going to look good in the last 5-6. I don't care about stuff like that. Give me the usage rate here and the minutes that have been secure for Moody. Someone
goes, Kyle is a real-life Warriors hater. Let's just shine some light on the delusion of some of these sports fans. In the Warriors, the last 10 Warriors games I've bet them 6 times, faded them twice, took an over and an under. So I've bet the Warriors 6 times, faded them twice in their last 10.
Why do you hate them?
You bet against these people's favorite teams, and they feel like personally triggered. It's wild. I've been betting the Warriors. Kyle. Next game.
Why do you hate Steph Curry? Why do you hate America?
Why do you hate my team?
Just wanted to add to Lindy's point. I was looking at Moses Moody's chart here. Significantly more profitable at home. His recent stretch of 6 games where he's gone under. 5 of those games were on the road. So very nice buy low spot here back at home against this Portland team.
Oh, Prop Beaver.
And let me just add to that too, Prop Beaver. There's no Brzezinski in this game, so let's see that like that they play the same type role. So I like that look a lot as well.
Let's go.
You made me want money with Strawther, so may tell you again today with all my plays taken off the board.
Congratulations on Moses Moody, 0 for 15 from the field. You're welcome.
I'm pumped.
Next game up, Knicks Kings. So Malik Monk is playing here, by the way. So he's confirmed in. Looks like as far as the market, the total came up 221.5, 222 now. We're still looking at Knicks -2, -2.5. That hasn't moved. To me, betting this game comes down to what we think this Knicks team looks like without Jalen Brunson. Obviously, he's the most important piece on the team, but it's very one-sided in terms of if you actually look at EPM, he's one of the most valuable offensive players in the NBA. But on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, theoretically, the Knicks defense should get better with McBride playing significantly more minutes. Brunson is not the most effective defender. So without Jalen Brunson, obviously the Knicks aren't as good, but the defense should theoretically be better. I guess under a pass. I don't have a bet in this game.
Jonas Valanciunas over 12.5 points. The minutes have just been ridiculous. So, yeah, we're just going 12.5 points for both spots in the evening window, apparently. Moses Moody and him. I'm sure somebody's going to parlay those together, so enjoy that. But the more that I look at it, the more that I just can't believe Jonas Valanciunas fell into, like, the perfect spot for him to actually receive minutes and to actually be able to do what he's good at, which is kind of just the bully ball at the top of the post. Like, him with dribble handoffs to DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, I have no idea what I'm watching or how it exists, but it's been out there. And now the minutes have been absurd. There were some crazy blowouts. They beat Dallas by infinity, only 23 minutes. They beat San Antonio by infinity, 27 minutes. But other than that, since Domantas Sabonis went out, 30, 32, and 42, trim 5 off of yesterday because of the overtime, 37 minutes. This guy is routinely put up ridiculous numbers. Now, the rebounding numbers have gotten excruciatingly bet up throughout the day. 10.5, now looking at 11.5 most everywhere. And then your 24.5s, 25.5s in the points plus rebound department. I'd rather just go straight to the usage here against the New York Knicks. Karl-Anthony Towns is the worst interior defender in the NBA. You can say what you want about his offensive game and how he's changed New York, but at the 10, opponents are shooting at the highest rate. I believe it was in NBA history through his first 3 months. I think it's toned down a little bit since then. But you look at some of the rim protection, sure, Mitchell Robinson should be available a little bit here tonight and kind of trim in and get a couple of minutes here and there. But Jonas Valanciunas fell into the perfect spot where there is no true center behind them. There's no Alex Len waiting in the wings here. So with Domantas Sabonis out, it just continues to be unlimited run for J-Val.
Chris?
Yeah, I did bet under, Cal. I got a bad number because I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know Monk was going to play, but you mentioned it, right? I'm thinking the Knicks defense, just real quick. I think the Knicks defense will be better without Brunson. I like that they have the 2-day rest advantage here. Sacramento has been a top 10 defensive rated team last 5 games. Playing at the third slowest pace, the Knicks are also 7-3 to the under. Knicks actually got the worst offensive rating in the last 5 games. So that was something to take into consideration. 3-0 to the under in their last 3. And they're also playing at the 5th slowest pace. So yeah, I think when I look at the matchup, I don't know, like you said, Kyle, like what the shot profile is going to look like for the Knicks. But if it's anything like the regular Knicks where they get to the mid-range, last 5 games, they're 11th in frequency, 4th in accuracy. Sacramento, that's the one shot that they've actually been taken away, is that mid-range shot. They did a really good job, just a backbreaker last night against the Clippers on that Kawhi buzzer beater. I did have Clippers plus. I had Sacramento plus 6.5 in that spot, so I was happy either way. But I do think that your Knicks have a chance to win the game, Cal. I do think it's going to be played slow and without pace. And yeah, I took under. I got 220.5 this morning.
Yeah, I mean, you can get 222.5 now. I don't dislike that. I mean, if it keeps moving up, maybe I throw a few dollars on this later. And someone asked, how are the Knicks laying points to the Kings without Brunson? Completely get why you would feel that way. Something to keep in mind, the Kings have looked good. In the last 10 games, the Knicks are 3rd in strength of schedule. The Kings are 29th. So we're talking about a Kings team that's playing the worst teams in the NBA and a Knicks team that's playing some of the best teams in the NBA. So strength of schedules aren't even close here between the Kings and the Knicks.
Kyle, real quick to that, the Knicks actually opened as a 1-point dog. The Kings were 1-point favorites to that game with the overtime yesterday. That's when it started to flip last night.
Yeah. All right. So we're on to college basketball. Clear the board. Lindy, in case someone watching has never seen you before, where can they find your stuff?
Yeah, hop over to OddShopper, the YouTube channel, also oddshopper.com. We've got amazing tools, awesome live odds screen that I know Kyle uses all the time as well. But just always love kicking it on these Mondays with Kyle when he decides to text me and let me know that I'm on the show. And my guy Chris be capping, so just give him some love, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys next week.
Chris, where can they find your stuff?
Yeah, just echoing what Lindy said. Over on YouTube or on X, even though I don't really use X as much. Crispy Capping, 2 P's, 2 N's, morning show at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wake that ass up. Come cap the games. Get some plays. And, yeah, appreciate you having me on as always, Kyle. Best of luck.
Wake that ass up. All right. We got a guest we haven't seen in a while coming on. We're joined by none other than Scoop. Yeah, I mean, a guest is in your... Scoop has been busy with real life recently. So he's been neglecting the channel, and for some reason he's not popping up on the screen. Oh, there he is.
So the time I do come on, I talk about a really shit Monday slate, and Trevor and Toast don't even want to come on the show with me.
Well, Trevor never comes on at this time.
I know. I'm just saying.
Toast is, who knows? I don't even know.
He's golfing.
Is he golfing? That's why?
Yeah.
What a piece of shit, honestly. While we're all working. So we got Wofford, Furman. Scoop, take it away.
Wofford and Furman. Yeah, I mean, the Southern tournament was actually wild. The favorites kind of sucked this whole tournament. This is hovering around 1.5. I think it's 1 now for Furman. I took Furman personally. Now I see everyone's on Furman. This should be a close game throughout. I mean, these two teams were the 5 and the 6 seed, and I mean, their defense has got them here. They're both really strong on the defensive side of the court. The thing with the Paladins, which is a great name, by the way, they're great on offense too. So as much as Wofford's been cruising through the tournament, they're going to have problems with Furman, I feel. They just lost to them a few games ago. They did beat Furman by 20 earlier this year, but that's a different team than now. Wofford hasn't had a 3-game winning streak since January. I'm not going against Furman right now. They're on a 6-game winning streak, and they're really great offensively. And they're way better than their middle and early parts of their season. This team is a top 60 field goal percentage, top 30 in 3-point defense, top 100 in scoring defense. The momentum's there for Furman. 4 of their 6. On the other side, I mean, 4 of the 6 were decided by single digits, including that 78-70 win against Wofford. But Wofford hasn't played any tough battles this tournament, I don't feel. I think the competitive games for Furman helps a little more. And just a trend, if you're talking about totals, the last 7 games between these two were 150.4 points. So, and the over is 4-1 for Wofford the last 4. 7-3 and Furman's last 10 have all gone over. I know conference championships are a bit more defense, but 137.5 seems a little low, especially if it's a close game. We're going to come down to free throws. So 2 bets that I threw down are on the Furman and on the over. So, yep.
You bet both of these?
I did. I bet both of this. I think some action on a Monday.
I might take that over because, I mean, you weren't kidding about everyone betting Furman. We're polling over 60% Furman. The only people that I'm looking at the comments here, you got Forecast Card on Wofford, BJ's on Wofford. Other than that, everyone seems to be on Furman. Someone also said the price for Toast actually golfing is plus 330. Dude, there's no way.
Swing, but he said
bro, there's no way he has. Yeah, I've never played with him, but I would almost guarantee he does not have a nice looking swing, dude. He has no motor skills at all. There's no way. Like, if I played Toasted Golf, I would be a minus 380 favorite to win that round. Yeah, I might bet that over with you, Scoop. Let's go to the next one. Wilmington. I'm pretty sure both Toast and Trevor were big on Wilmington here, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it should be a good one. I want to grab Charleston just for Andy. You know you love this team from last year. UNC though, Wilmington. I mean, they won both games this season by 2 on the road, 20 at home. Donovan Newby really makes his team run offensively. It's their leading scorer, their leading assists. He's actually leading in steals too. He's definitely the best player for Wilmington. McGriff's the other player that can actually put on some points. Other than those two, there's not a dominant player to rely on offensively. But the thing with Wilmington is they're really deep. They're really solid. They got a great bench. A lot of people you can rely on put up minutes. I think they're actually significantly better than Charleston, so I agree with Trevor and Toast. I think this line's a bit too low. I mean, I think it's 4.5. It was 3.5 earlier. It's probably the fact that Charleston's still decent. I mean, they won the last 2 years as conference. If you watch the other 2 games these two played, just Charleston doesn't have anyone that can slow this team down. And let's be real, this team had to go to overtime to put away a bad Monmouth team last night. So Wilmington, sneakily great defense. The past 3 too, they're holding teams. The last 3 games, actually, they're holding their teams at under 65. So they have a great defense. And metrics-wise, Wilmington is by far the higher-ranking team. They're 109th in KenPom. No one even in the conference comes close to that. So even without a dominant scorer, this team's they're still shooting top 50 in the country. Not a great 3-point shooting team, but they get inside and distribute well. So even though Charleston has size, they're actually terrible down low and they can't rebound at all. So last game, Wilmington out-rebounded them by 20. I just think Wilmington's a far better team here, so they should go to the finals for this one.
I was laughing at someone said Toast golf swing is like a Sean Marion jumper. Andy passed away in January, unfortunately. Had a heart condition, and tough doing March Madness stuff without him for sure. I still in touch. I want to do something for him. We couldn't put together for this year, but I want to do some kind of like competition for March Madness because he loved college basketball. Haven't figured out what we're gonna do yet, but I'll let everyone know. Let's move on to the next one. Are you going with the Cinderella story here? Pepperdine. I mean, that number was a little bit absurd. What was that against Santa Clara yesterday?
Yeah. Santa Clara and good for Pepperdine, man. This is awesome.
I would like to see some data on. Okay, so this time of year, we these teams go on runs, right? Teams they win continuous games as double-digit point underdogs. I would like to see the hit rate on a team like Pepperdine who wins as like a 14, 15 point underdog, what their hit rate is on the
game.
Yeah, because like I feel like my perception is you keep betting the Cinderella team. I just don't know if the data would actually reflect that. Is it profitable to keep betting the Cinderella team? I mean, I'm not saying you have the answer to that question off the top of your head. It's just that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, no, I mean, Helm said I should throw money on a Pepperdine money line. Or he won't respect me.
A lot of people are doing that. A lot of people are betting Pepperdine money here. They're betting the Cinderella. It's definitely
it's 1,500 if you want to go that route. I mean, the West Coast Conference is not good. It's why Gonzaga's leaving next year to go to the Pac-12, which also isn't a great conference, but it's still better than this. I mean, Pepperdine's here, the 9 seed, won 3 in a row to get here. Santa Clara, Oregon State, and was it Portland? But I think the ride's going to stop here. It's Pepperdine's offense that's been doing awesome. They scored over 75 points in 2 games. Defense has played okay. But yeah, the problem is Pepperdine's 4th game in 4 days, no breaks, and St. Mary's hasn't played in over a week. They haven't played at all. So if I was playing anything, actually, I wouldn't bet either side here. But if I was playing anything, I might play just for fun a Pepperdine first half. I think you can get that at 11.5. I'm probably not going to play like I'm a coward, but I mean, Pepperdine's riding high. I feel like they're going to come out strong. And then you know what? I said it last year when I was on the show. They're probably tired. It fell apart in the second. They're going to fall apart in the second half, I feel. So the fact that St. Mary's is the best team in this conference. They won their last 8 against Pepperdine, covered both this season, by far the best defense in the conference, 11th in the nation. So this shouldn't be close. Realistically, it shouldn't be close, but I'm also not betting against Pepperdine right now, so I'm not going to lay 19.5 to a team that's on this March ride. So yeah, with the tired factor, don't forget Pepperdine only has also a 7-man rotation the last game against Santa Clara, so everyone's playing a ton of minutes here. So yeah, tired legs are a factor, but it's kind of why I like them in the first half. I think they're going to be coming out strong. So.
Someone said Pepperdine has Trevor Vandenbosch blocked on Twitter, which is kind of hilarious. He says I can't support
out of every
them.
college.
He does follow them all. That's how he knows. Like it's like, oh, it's T-shirt giveaway day. Like he follow. What a freak he is. Let's move on to the next one. Is Youngstown State? Yeah, Youngstown State, Cleveland State. This conference, I got to say, didn't know much about it entering the season. As you guys know, I'm not the biggest mid-major. Like, I like it, but I don't follow it close enough to really share my thoughts. I've had a lot of fun betting on this conference this year, this Horizon League.
That's because it's always the random games during the week that we have nothing to talk about.
Right, and I don't know. I just feel like there's been some cool storylines, and maybe it's because some of the guys from like the college experience and Trevor like are they live in Wisconsin, so I'm following it a little closely. I don't really know why, but I find this conference interesting. I also, the storyline here, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cleveland State, much better body of work, but haven't been playing well for about a month now. Is that?
That's what I listened to. I heard you guys at midnight. Yeah, exactly. These two split the regular season. They each won their road game, actually. But, I mean, the thing, I know Toast is on Youngstown. I'm on Cleveland State. I know they haven't played well at all, but Youngstown hasn't played really great either. They've had some weird runs. The thing with Youngstown is they're still without their best player too, and EJ Farmer. He was second team all conference. He led the team in scoring. I think they could beat a team like Purdue Fort Wayne like that. It's going to be different playing Cleveland State. They struggled against Northern Kentucky, and before that, if you watch, they could have lost to the Fighting Doug Gottliebs with Green Bay, which would have been miserable for them. They just don't have a deep team to replace someone like Farmer. That's already with a Youngstown team that's 262nd in offensive efficiency, and that's with him. So without him, it's been worse. Cleveland State, I know they've been struggling, but they do have 3 all-league players. Tevin Smith is probably the best player in this game without Farmer. But I really like Arnett down low to grab some rebounds, score some buckets. So, yeah, the thing with Youngstown is I don't see them keeping up here. Against Fort Wayne, they only had 26 points at half. I think it's going to be around the same here for Cleveland State. Yeah, I mean, the Penguins, they shot just 36% of the field and 17% from 3 against Fort Wayne yesterday. They had 17 turnovers, and, that's against a poor defensive team. So the only way I think Youngstown can keep up is with the defensive stops, but again, I just don't see them doing enough offensively to make it competitive. So I'm on Cleveland State here.
Yeah, Seth Freeman. We did do that Idaho State game on the midnight show if you want to check it out. It was only Scoop today, so Scoop just picked 5 games to talk about because Toast is golfing.
He's probably doing what's that? The soccer golf where he has he kicks the ball down the fairway.
No, I like frothing.
What's frothing?
The frisbee golf, dude.
Oh, that's disc golf.
Yeah, it's dope.
No, it's froth.
Isn't it disc golf? Just disc golf?
It's literally called disc golf.
No, it's called froth.
There's no one.
Dude, I know someone who's like really into it.
A really good froth.
No, he participates in tournaments and shit. I swear to God. And it's froth.
Sounds like a
All
cool
right,
guy.
all right, I'll call it froth from now on. Is there odds on this game?
Let me ask you, people in the comments, like the juice. Cleveland State's a lock with Youngstown State's best player out. Okay, then why is this number still sitting at 2.5? Pinnacle moved it up to 3. Nobody's following. Pinnacle moved it up to 3 5 hours ago. No one's following. They're scared of this Penguins. Scared of them. Penguins win. Next game. San Francisco versus the Zags.
Those didn't want to talk about his Zags, so
against Gonzaga. Those hates when you say it like that.
Yeah, no, Gonzaga. So yeah, Gonzaga hasn't been the Gonzaga of old this year. They're still getting at large. I think regardless if they lose in the finals, I'm gonna assume they'll win this game. Personally, as 15-point favorites, I don't think they're gonna lose. Besides the 2 St. Mary's losses and that 2-game losing streak to Oregon State and Santa Clara earlier this year, the Zags really don't have any problems taking care of the rest of the conference. So they already avenged that Santa Clara game. I think 2 games ago with a 19-point win, and this is the same matchup the Zags just played. Hit their last game, they just beat San Fran by 20 points. That was March 1st. Zags hasn't played since then. San Fran just played yesterday against Washington State, so Gonzaga's rested. I do worry about their defense in general because Kyle knows this is a dog shit defense in Gonzaga. But really, at this point, the problem is it's not going to be a bad defense against San Fran. It's a lot of points for a San Fran team the problem is that they're 13-5 in conference. They had a good season, and that's also with a St. Mary's win on their resume. So the issue is Gonzaga finished 14-4 in conference, and all 14 of those wins were by double digits. So, I mean, the Zags last 8, they're 7-1, averaging 85 points a game. So even with Gonzaga having momentary lapses in defense, they're going to do enough offensively to put this game over that spread, I feel. I would take Gonzaga, but I actually grabbed team total over for this one. That's the bet I made. It's 84.5 right now. I think that'll go over as well. Gonzaga's second in the nation points per game with 87. Their field goal percentage is 50%. That's second in the region as well. They're 48th in adjusted tempo. So I think they'll have the ability to go over that pretty well, especially since San Fran runs a quick offense too. So I'm not going to bet the spread of 14.5. I don't trust them like that, but I do like their team total to go over.
I specifically remember the last time these 2 teams played, and everyone took the Dons plus the points, and the Zags rolled them. And here we are again. The Zags laying a big number. We're pulling pretty heavy on San Francisco. It would be the Dons for me because I hate Gonzaga, or I hate Gonzaga. Can't stand the Zogs.
The Zogs. It's those Zogs.
I don't have any college basketball. But I mean, these mid majors are tough for me. I don't know any of these teams. Like, obviously, I know San Francisco and Gonzaga, but I know.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is they blew them out twice in a row already this season. So doing it 3 times is rough.
So, Scoop, are you with us the whole week? So, what were you saying? Your availability? So, obviously,
let me know.
we have daytime stuff. So I don't know. We might have to do 3 live shows a day for the rest of the week, guys. Just so you know, because I don't know if you're familiar with it's conference tournament week and.
Yeah. Plus, games end at like
Exactly.
midnight, and then you don't get a spread.
It's going to be a
until, like, 3 in the morning
nightmare
the next
here
day.
for the next week.
All right.
But yeah, so what I figured what we could do is we'll do the midnight show and then 11 a.m. show with some of the lines that open, and then a 4 p.m. show for some of the later games, and we'll figure it out. But are you available for 11 and 4?
Yeah, depending on the day. Just I'll talk to you in the morning.
Cool. Everyone, have a good day. I will post the video on how to use the Salts Network and all that maybe tomorrow, so don't worry about that. I'll be on that. Yeah, new league starts tomorrow. By the way, the championship for the league is today. So if you didn't get your picks in for the league, you're good. It doesn't start till tomorrow. Everyone, have a good one. Bet responsibly.